Hey guys. Thanks for having me today. Great to be here. Houston, we have a problem. Our target customer has been stranded on Mars due to a freak accident in deep space. What are we going to do about it? Are we going to just leave him there to die without the opportunity to buy the stuff that we're selling and then try to market? No, we're going to bring him home. Unfortunately, the challenge is we've got only 40 minutes here, and he's got a limited amount of supplies and oxygen, and Mars is actually pretty far away. And you know, when you think about these content marketing missions, trying to make stuff go viral, it never works. You know, why? There's a lot of problems. Number one, most of the content you produce goes nowhere. Like half of it gets 0 shares, and only 0.1% of it will get even 1,000 shares. Or unless you're a fake news organization, the social media reach is pretty terrible. Another problem is that if you're relying on paid channels to do content distribution, the cost per clicks are very, very high and not getting any cheaper. SEO keeps getting harder and harder in terms of content distribution. And even if by some miracle you're able to get people to your site to consume the content that you're working so hard to produce, the typical conversion rates for this stuff is less than 1%, if I look at it on average. And so when I look at content marketing today, just surveying the landscape here, it does feel a little bit like a suicide mission. I know you have a lot of questions. You're probably wondering, what are we going to do? What's the plan? How are we going to save our target customer here and sell to him? Well, before getting all the details of the operation today, I just wanted to introduce myself briefly. My name's Larry. I'm the founder of the National Space Unicorn Agency with over 100 successful flights to Mars and back, so you're in good hands. I'm originally from Winnipeg. Winnipeg is very famous for being colder than Mars for half the year. It's so cold that basically when I go to Winnipeg or when I go to Mars, I don't even need a spacesuit. It's just like it feels warm to me. I just need the oxygen tank. So I moved to Boston after college. That's just a joke, guys. That's not really Boston. That's Mars from The Martian. I live in Harvard Square in Cambridge. That's right outside of Boston. It's a very famous area. It's where Microsoft was founded by Bill Gates. It's where Zuckerberg founded Facebook. It's also where I founded my own company, WordStream, initially kind of like a lot of you guys, just a sole proprietor, kind of like an internet marketing guy working out of a bakery because of the free internet Wi-Fi and unlimited Diet Coke refills. The company's gotten a lot bigger. I employ about 210 people, have over 10,000 customers, and manage approximately $1 billion of ad spend for 10,000 customers worldwide. So roughly 2% of Google's worldwide ad budget is managed by my company. My background's in electrical engineering, so I really do know this rocket science stuff. And I have a 2-year-old kid. You can follow his adventures. I've been live vlogging his life on Twitter using the hashtag ppckid. All right, enough about me. Back to our mission. Let's think about the mission parameters here. How does content marketing and demand generation really work? I can tell you how it doesn't work anymore. It used to be you just like produce some content, rank for keywords, people will search for your stuff and they'll buy it. Guys, this never works anymore. It's just so much more competitive. We need to manufacture ways for people to actually search for our stuff, not just capturing the searches that are already happening. We need a ridiculously new unfair advantage. How do we get more leads and sales from the content that we're working so hard to produce? Not just like a little bit better, like 5 or 10% better. We need things to be a lot better, like going to Mars, kind of 10 times better. And so to help us in our journey today, I have pioneered some new technology, new unicorn rocket technology. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, Larry, those unicorn rockets, they sound very expensive. But don't worry at all, guys. These unicorn rockets are actually very, very cheap. You can buy your own for just $50. You see, when it comes to social media advertising, like Facebook ads, Twitter ads, that kind of stuff, I'm not suggesting that we spend tens of thousands of dollars to promote content. The way that I use social media ads is using micro budgets of $50 or $100 as either a catalyst to get the ball rolling. Sometimes your projects, they just need a little push to get things moving along. Or I use these social ad budgets as an accelerant, like gas on the fire, to make an existing successful project even more successful. And so basically, paid social media advertising, it does two things fantastically well. The first thing that it does is it's the cheapest, most scalable, most powerful way to amplify the reach of your content to a specific target market. The second thing that it does that's really interesting is it has this really neat way of converting the people who consume the content that you produce into leads and sales for your business. So we'll get into all the details of the operation in just a second. We're talking about my top 10 content promotion hacks for 2017. Starting at number 10, it's quality score or relevancy score in Facebook and Twitter ads. So relevancy score, it's just how these algorithms work. Basically, believe it or not, there's more than one company trying to push ads to people on Facebook, and so it's a bit of an auction. So Facebook has to decide whose ads to show and how much to charge you for it. And the way that it figures this out is based on something called relevancy score. It looks to see, like, are people engaging with the content that you're sharing, you're promoting? Are people clicking on it or sharing it or liking it or commenting on it, or are they not? The more engagement, the higher your relevancy score. You'll be rewarded with more ad impressions and lower cost per clicks. It's the same thing on Twitter. They call it quality adjusted bid, but it's just the same idea. It just looks at the resonance, relevancy, and recency of the tweets that you're promoting. If those numbers are good, it'll show your ad very frequently and at very low cost, and vice versa. One thing that people don't understand when they're starting with a social media advertising to promote content, they don't understand the leverage in the system. So basically, if you're promoting some garbage piece of content with like 1% engagement rates, then you're going to be paying $3, $4, $5 for that click. You know, if you instead you promote really, really interesting content that has like 30, 40, 50% engagement rates, you'll be paying like 2 or 1 penny for those clicks, or even less. And so basically, the higher the engagement rate of the content you're producing, the lower the cost per click. So basically, the strategy is very simple. We're just going to try to aim for these high relevancy, high quality scores. Basically, we want to share and promote our best stuff, because if we do, life will be great. And if we promote garbage, life will be terrible. So I call these your best stuff, like the big rock content or whatever, I call these unicorns. I'm talking about the top 1 or 2% of the most engaging stuff that you have. And this is an example of one of my unicorns. It was just a stupid blog post that I wrote a while ago. It says, goodbye, comma Google Plus, and I photoshopped some silly gravestone. When I tweeted this thing, it had a 30% engagement rate. So 1 out of 3 people who are seeing this thing were commenting on it or liking it or retweeting it. So that's bonkers. It's like very, very high engagement. So I'm like, wow, everyone who sees this is engaging with it. I'm going to use it. I'm going to throw a little bit of gas on the fire, so using a $50 budget as like an accelerant to make a successful project even more successful. And basically, for that $250 investment, it generated an additional 1,500 retweets and an additional 100,000 visitors to the content. And now that's a tremendous return on investment, considering that your time is not free. It costs you money to produce this stuff. So for an extra $250 to put gas on the fire, you generate 100,000 people that you can remarket to. That's a big deal. You see, the big thing that we need to understand is that you just have to say no to sending donkeys into outer space. Like marketers, we always try to send our donkeys into outer space, and they never make it. They're just not designed for space travel. Basically, the worst thing you can do is say, can I give you an example? It's like they might give you like a $1,000 content promotion budget, okay, a $1,000 monthly content promotion budget, and maybe you have 10 pieces of content every month. And so you might think, oh, let's evenly divide the budget, $100 per post, right? No, that's the worst thing you can do. Because like 9 out of 10 of those posts are actually going to be donkeys, and they don't make it into outer space. What you should be doing is taking the whole $1,000, finding the unicorn, and going all in on that one piece. So basically, the idea is to get these unicorns. Wouldn't it be cool if there was a way to always get high quality score unicorns? Because if we did, life would be so great. You'd be in unicorn land where it's sunny and never rains. And so, guys, I make this stupid easy for you guys. It's so easy. I've created a unicorn detector for you to use in your organization. It's so easy to use. Basically, what we need to do is we need to audition a lot of content. Okay, we need to just share stuff a lot organically on Twitter or through email. Just testing them out and see like, what's the engagement rate like? So if it's by email, like typically it might be like 10% open rates. But if you have an email subject line that has a 30 or 40% open rate, well, that's an outlier. That's a unicorn. You see something like if you have a Twitter tweet that's typically 1 or 2% engagement rate, and you see one that has like 10 or 12, that's a unicorn. So we need to just audition a lot of ideas, a lot of pieces of content, and then only pay to promote the unicorns, the ones that have the outliers, the unusually high engagement rates. It's a little bit like that movie, The Hunger Games, where the tributes had to kind of battle each other out, and only the victor got celebrated in the Capitol. And so basically that's the idea. Just test more stuff organically, kill off your donkeys, and only send the unicorns into outer space. How do we find these unicorns? You have to be a little bit objective. It's not based on how you feel about the post. It's not like how much effort you put into the piece of content. It's just based on, are people engaging with it or not? So it's based on the outcomes, not on your personal biases. Guys, there's a huge difference between paid social media advertising and organic social media and content marketing. You know what the biggest difference is that people always get confused with? So the key to paid social media advertising is that you have to be very, very picky about what you're promoting. In social, it doesn't really, in organic social, it doesn't really matter. You can just post away. You know, there's no penalty for low engagement stuff per se. But in paid social, you're paying for this stuff. And so you need to cast a very, very narrow net and maximize the engagement rates within that net that you're casting. This brings me to my number 9 content promotion hack, which has to do with premium unicorn kisses rocket fuel. You didn't think we were going to use just regular unleaded on this mission. No, we're using Unicorn Kisses rocket fuel. What I'm talking about is demographic, behavioral, and interest-based ad targeting to raise those engagement rates. So, you know, the point of this stuff is not just to drive hits to the website. The point of this is to get like the right people, the people who meet our target market and so and so. So basically, this is just a stupid example of a piece of content that I produced talking about Google's new CEO. I was able to dramatically raise the engagement rate by 10 times by targeting this piece of content, not to all of my followers, just to the followers who use the hashtag alphabet. And so that generates a 27% engagement rate, 18 new followers, 348 retweets, 2,100 clicks for $49. So that whole thing about the $50 thing, that's not a gimmick. That's actually math. Because like you shouldn't have to spend more than $50. If something doesn't work in the first $50, it's not going to work in the next $50. It's like, oh, I think I could, if I just throw another $1,000, it's going to turn into a unicorn. No, it doesn't change. So basically, this idea is you add targeting to kind of your, no matter how boring your content is, if you can draw a narrow enough net around who you think this might be interesting to, maybe it can turn into kind of a near unicorn. And my next idea has to do with, the solid-state booster rockets, remarketing on the Google Display Network and Facebook. So basically, really interesting thing about remarketing is that the people who have previously engaged with your content, they're much more likely to engage with your stuff in the future, 3 times higher engagement rates, 1/3 the cost per click, and twice the conversion rates. And so basically, what you should be doing with remarketing is pushing to your hard offers. Buy the damn thing, or sign up for a trial, or in-house consultation. The weird thing about remarketing is the more times people see this offer, the less likely they are to click on it, but those who do click on it are more likely, are double. Twice as likely to buy. And there's this really interesting concept that I'm calling super remarketing. Has anyone ever heard of super remarketing? It's okay, I just made it up this morning. Basically, why remarket to everyone who visits your site? Okay, only 1 or 2% of them are going to actually meet your target audience criteria in terms of their buyer persona. So what you can do is you can overlay remarketing with certain job titles like demographics, certain interests, certain behaviors, purchasing history, to really just cast a very, very narrow net and remarket to just the people who are likely to buy rather than everybody. So super remarketing is really interesting because you're going after people who've checked you out recently and who meet your buyer persona demographics, and this is a very efficient way of converting clicks into cash. Number 7, we want to talk about some ion boosters, or basically competitive advertising, how to beat up on competitors. It's way more than just like trying to rank for their brand terms. There's like YouTube ads. So if you got video content, you can have it as a pre-roll, like in front of on their channel. This is a managed placement. There's custom affinity audiences on the Google Display Network. That means like it's based on their browsing history. If they visit a certain website or a certain web page, you can target people with display ads. Facebook interest targeting, targeting people who've engaged with this brand. Twitter following or keyword targeting is just people who are engaged with certain topics that you care about. Or Gmail ads, getting people into the inboxes if they're talking about a certain brand. So Great news, we're now orbiting Earth, and the good news is very, very few companies make it this far, less than 2% actually, but we still have a long journey ahead. We just broke an orbit. We need to get all the way to Mars and back, and so we need to bring out the big guns here. We're going to have to do something called a gravity assist. We need to really get some miles here. So custom audiences, we're talking about. This is not a new technology. It's been around for 3 or 4 years, but I think the applications of this technology are new to content marketers in that there's so many interesting possibilities. Think of custom audiences as a lot like email marketing. So you can deliver your ads to specific phone numbers or emails, but it's a lot better than email marketing because you don't have to worry about unsubscribes or subscribes for that matter. There's no limit in terms of how many times you can blast the list every week, and basically there's a lot of interesting use cases that you can use with these custom audiences, and especially in the content marketing field. Here's a quick story. I wrote a blog post once about comparing Twitter and Facebook ads, and I just posted it to the blog. Made a little infographic, it's not even an infographic, it's just a table with colors on it. It's kind of unremarkable, but I shared it on my Twitter, and what did I do? I didn't promote it to everyone. I just promoted it to a very, very custom, tailored audience of 1,666 influential people. So like I had an intern, find the Twitter names of like the editor-in-chief of Business Insider and of Fox News and CNN and Wall Street Journal, just collect all the Twitter names and create a list of 1,000 influential people. So basically what we did was we promoted the post for $50, and within a few hours, the editor-in-chief of Business Insider comes back and says, "Hey Larry, we saw your post. We'd like to syndicate that post on our blog," right? Because we thought it was interesting, and I'm like, yeah, like of course you can syndicate it. Like Business Insider is much bigger than my own personal blog. Do you see what I'm saying? So I'm like doing my SEO link building dance because like it included a bunch of links in the piece of content back to the mothership, but here's the thing. So like we got this piece of content shared, and basically I shared the syndicated copy on my social media. And the thing about these unicorns is that when you have something that's resonating, you really, really have to go all in. So like if you're spending $50, you can spend another $50 if it seems to be working well. And so I did the same thing. I promoted the same piece of content, this time the Business Insider article, to my list of influential people. An hour later, the producer for Fox Business News emails me, "We saw your piece. We'd love to have you on your show tomorrow. We'll send a car, etc." Next day, I'm on Fox Business News. This is like 1 million people watch this show globally. All right, it was a 4.5-minute segment, tremendous value for me and my company. I couldn't have afforded the advertising, buying 4.5 minutes of commercials. And the coolest thing about this was that. I was beating up on Twitter ads in the segment, and so the Facebook people, they saw the segment because I guess they watched this Fox Business stuff, and they were like, "Yeah, why don't you come over to the office and meet our leadership team?" And I got to fly out to Menlo Park and meet like Sheryl Sandberg and all these people. And the best thing about this is they found out that my wife was pregnant. This was like 2 years ago. They found that she was pregnant, so they gave me this baby hoodie, which was like $25 value. That's half the media spend, guys. That's pretty good. So guys, we're talking about like 250 like brand pickups and interviews on NPR and BBC and like tons of like I'm a columnist at most of these places now as a result of having done this one successful content marketing piece. And there's so many interesting applications of this in e-commerce. So for example, of these lists. So for example, you just kind of sort your lists into like, if you're doing email marketing, you just take those same segmentations, upload them to Facebook, and have them show up in the Facebook newsfeed or the Twitter newsfeed. It's remarkably powerful. And so if you also want to expand beyond just the people who are on your list, you can use something called similar audiences, where Facebook will kind of analyze the interests and behaviors and demographics of these people, and will find similar people with 99% similar characteristics. So we're down to number 5. We're talking about hacking Reddit and these other big social media sites that drive tons of traffic, like LinkedIn Pulse, like I don't know, Medium. They all, like Dig, Hacker News. They all work the same. You know how these things work? They're just aggregator sites. They bring in lots of content ideas. And users like vote on what's the most interesting thing, and if you can get to the top of Hacker News or LinkedIn Pulse or Dig, you know, you're going to get millions of views to your website, and then that's really valuable. And so I just want to give you an example of how easy it is to hack these things. So the Medium is one such example. I'm actually this was one piece that got 500,000 views, you know, or over 1 million views, sorry, and thousands and thousands of likes, and basically it was so popular. Ariana Huffington like shared the story and asked me to be a columnist, and it got syndicated in Time magazine, and you know it catapulted me to be the #8 author, ranked author on Medium, just behind you know, Hillary Clinton and other, you know, influential people. How the heck did we do this? Is it because I'm such a great writer? No. It has everything to do with the content promotion strategy. So basically, all I'm doing is when I publish something to Medium, I have a custom audience of influential users on Medium. You see what I'm saying? So I have their Twitters, and they see my piece of content, and those are the people who are likely to then share and heart the thing. And the more hearts you get, hearts beget more visibility, which begets more hearts, and you kind of enter this jet stream where you just get propelled to the front page. It's so easy. I've been able to replicate the same strategy on on Reddit and other news aggregator sites. So we're down to my #4 hack. Has to do with changing your offer. Guys, so much of success on social media advertising has to do with promoting the unicorns and dumping your donkeys. And when it comes to the offers that we're promoting, you know, the median donkey converts at around 2%, but there's these special unicorn offers out there that convert to sales at over 10%. So like the difference between donkeys and unicorns is 5 times better. The unicorns convert 5 times better than the donkey offers. So how do we turn these conversion rate donkeys into unicorns? I can tell you how it's not going to work. It's not just about the button colors or the spacing or the imagery. You know, it's because these little changes in conversion rates don't make a difference. We need to find the outliers. We need to find the unicorns that are like substantially more interesting. And basically, you know, basically what we're looking for is really high click-through rate offers, because the more excitement you can get about people, if you can generate a lot of excitement for the offer, that excitement will carry through to a purchase. Like picnic pants versus drones. Picnic pants is like the worst possible thing in the world. This was actually inspired to me by a guy, Will Reynolds. I think he's a speaker here. Anyways, this is the worst thing because you're eating off of your crotch, and it's like very low click-through rates, very low conversion rates. Drones, on the other hand, very, very interesting, very exciting, high click-through rates, high conversion rates. And so the worst thing you could do is just put lipstick on a donkey and just kind of, you know, pretty up this stuff with new photography, you know, because you really want to, like, you're summiting Donkey Hill. You really need to have a different offer, a completely different idea. And just a quick example of this in practice. For my own business, for the first 5 years, I was selling like a free trial of my WordStream PPC management software, and it had like a 2% conversion rate, which is a donkey. I just switched it around a little bit. I turned it into a free report card. Okay, so like instead of making users try to learn the product themselves, I just said, forget it. We're not going to even let you use this. We're just going to download your data and tell you whether or not you're doing any good or not. And so that generated a 40% conversion rate. And so it tells you stuff like, oh, you're in the worst 4th percentile of all the dentists like in America. Like this is much more easy to understand, and it was just like a simple, you know, change that I did over 90 days, and it 10x the conversion rates. And so just by it's like on social, you really need these high conversion rates for it to work. And so I'm just saying, if you have a donkey, don't just keep promoting it. You have to actually change the offer of what you're promoting. My number 3 hack has to do with rank brain and SEO. So SEO is changing. I'm sure you know this. It used to be all about links and keywords. There's a new sheriff in town. Has to do with user engagement, like click-through rates and bounce rates. Seems to be a big deal. I've been doing a lot of research on this, and basically what I'm finding is that over the last year, machine learning algorithms like rank brain are kind of changing it so that the higher click-through rate listings organically seem to be getting better and better placement. And of course, search is zero-sum gain, so the gains of those top 3 spots, it's at the expense of the lower ranking stuff. So basically, the higher the click-through rate of your search listings, if you can beat the expected click-through rate for a given spot by 3%, you're likely to get promoted to the next spot, according to my own research. Same thing with bounce rate. What we're finding is that if you have a decent bounce rate that's low enough, you'll likely be eligible to show up in certain coveted top four positions. If you have a really ridiculous bounce rate, like 80, 90%, you're less likely to show up in those coveted spots. And so basically, my whole point is that in SEO, the key here is to just maximize the click-through rates and minimize the bounce rates. The only reason why I'm bringing this up in a content promotion session is that Facebook and Twitter ads create a bias. It creates brand familiarity. So people who aren't searching for your stuff, they see your ads and they become familiar with your stuff. And that actually raises both the click-through rates and the conversion rates. So it's kind of a system where your Facebook ads will actually improve your organic traffic. Congratulations, guys. We're orbiting Mars. Can we just give ourselves a hand here? All right, guys. So congratulations. So, we have one last thing we need to do. We just need to rescue poor Mark Watney from the surface of Mars. And to do this, what I'm going to do is use the power of video ads. Video ads is, of course, another remarkably powerful hack for Facebook and Twitter advertising. Basically, what I do is I target people with certain interests or demographics. I use Google Analytics User Explorer to find out what are my customers interested in, and I target those insights, like are they interested in entrepreneurship, I target those same interests with my content. I'll just give you a stupid example. Guys, wasn't that crazy? Isn't that so hard to unsee? That's the power of video advertising, guys. We're just creating a bias so people will remember your stuff and will be more likely to click on it and convert later in the future. And the neat thing about this is it's such high engagement stuff. Higher engagement rates, lower cost per click. You can get the cost per view down to half a penny. So basically, if you take the same high-performing piece of content, if you have a unicorn and you videoify it, just take the great idea that you have and just turn it into a video, that'll even yield an even better, stronger unicorn. Guys, my last idea here has to do with combining the power of search advertising, like Google AdWords, and content promotion, right? Because at the end of the day, we still need to sell stuff, right? And so there's this really neat technology called remarketing lists for search ads, RLSA. I'm not sure if you've heard of this, but basically it's saying we're going to do pay-per-click ads on AdWords. It also works on Bing, by the way. But basically we're going after people who visited the site and then are also searching for the keywords that we're interested in. And what's so interesting about this is that they've already visited your site through your content marketing efforts. So you've biased them. You've made them really think happy thoughts about your brand. And so later when they search for stuff, they're going to be 3 times more likely to click on your stuff. And the cost per click is going to be so low and the conversion rates are going to be so high. The challenge with RLSA is just, it's a volume issue, right? Because generally you want to sell to people who've heard of you and also sell to people who haven't heard of you, right? So RLSA is targeting kind of that small circle in the middle of people who've heard of your brand. And so how do we kind of have our cake and eat it too? So basically the solution is to use these social ads like Facebook and Twitter to dramatically expand brand affinity, like to make it so that millions of people, not just hundreds of thousands of people, are familiar with your brand, and you can then remarket to them in search and harvest that demand that you've created through advertising. And so basically, if you have a very, very small ad budget, like maybe even just $1,000 a month, the first $1,000 or whatever you should be spending is on RLSA, because that really is the low-hanging fruit of people who are most likely to convert. The second idea, if you've got these massive pay-per-click advertising budgets, but nothing for content promotion budgets, maybe consider shifting them, like maybe 50-50 or 80-20, like just shift a lot of budget towards RLSA, and then having other ad budget going to content promotion to create to expand the size of your cookie pools, so that you have more people to remarket to in search. So guys, congratulations, we've saved our customer. Let's give it up here. What does it all mean? So just we've been kind of, on a rocket ship here from Earth to Mars and back on a mission to save our target customer from imminent doom. And we were successful. Let's just take a step back and think about, what the heck does this all mean? I just want you to think about how advertising really works and what's the point of all this effort. I think what we're doing here in content marketing is we're trying to create and promote inspirational, memorable content to our target audience so that they think happy thoughts about our brand. They'll consume the content that you're producing. They might not take action right away, but they'll become biased. Later, when the need arises to buy whatever it is you're selling, they'll do one of two things. They'll either do a branded search for your stuff, in which case you've won, because branded searches have like 50-60% click-through rates, correct? Or they'll do an unbranded search for whatever it is you're selling, but when they see your ads and your listings, organic listings, they'll become biased and they'll remember you, and they have a higher propensity of clicking on you and buying from your company. This is interesting, some research that I've done, just trying to quantify the impact of brand affinity on SEO and PPC activities. So I'm just comparing repeat visitors versus new visitors, like repeat visitors as a proxy for brand affinity. And basically, this notion of people who've heard of you are just 2 to 3 times more likely to click on those listings. And that's a big deal in both SEO and PPC. And they're also 2 to 3 times more likely to buy from you if they've heard of you before. And so I think basically, here's a summary of what we talked about: unicorns, rockets only. Don't send the donkeys into space. We talked about all these different technologies like remarketing and targeting and competitive advertising and custom audiences. I'm not going to read them all. You can get them. You can download the deck. So basically, guys, find your unicorns and be a unicorn in a sea of donkeys. Thank you so much.